Good morning, students. I invite all the students of 7th standard for this online classes. I hope and trust that all are doing good and you all are safe under His wings. I hope that you will be benefited by this class. Let's move on to our class, social science class. To begin with, we'll start with the history lesson. The The lesson is entitled as Sources of Medieval India. We will see some of the learning objectives here. First is sources of the study of medieval India. Then we can see the temples, mosques, tombs, palaces and forts as important sources of this medieval India. Then we will be move on to literary and inscriptional text. And next we will be seeing the accounts of Arabs and Turkish travelers of this medieval India. Let's see in nutshell about this lesson. First is introduction, then we'll move on to the sources, then we'll come to the travelers and travel ages of the medieval India, and at last we'll see the summary of the whole lesson. Now we'll move on to the lesson of sources of medieval India. The period from AD 700 to 1200 and from AD 1200 to 1700 are classified as early medieval and later medieval periods. Respectively, in Indian history, numerous and varied sources are fortunately valuable to the historians engaging in the study of medieval India. Added to the information that can be gleaned from inscriptions, monuments, and coins or the accounts left by Arabs, Persian, and Turkish. And next, we'll be seeing about the sources of medieval India. Sources are the supporting materials, documents, or records in the form of evidence that help to reconstruct the past. Here are the classification of sources. There are two classification. Number 1, primary classification. Secondary, so primary sources and secondary sources. We examine the details of political, economic, and socio-cultural developments with the aid of sources. First, we will see some of the points which is in the primary sources. Under primary sources, we can see the inscriptions, monuments, and coins, and the informations available in them. First, let me see the inscription. Inscriptions are writings engraved on solid surfaces such as rocks, stones, temple walls, and metals. The king's royal degrees, dedications, and donation monuments raised in commemoration of victories in wars, those built in memory of deceased warriors contain rich information about the concerned era. Now in the picture we see the temple wall. What did you understand by this temple wall? Can you see some writings out there? Yes, absolutely. In those days, in medieval period, kings and all the people who ruled the country, they used to write all the recorded things in the temple wall so that the future generation like us could see and will be appreciated by those kings and can see the good information is recorded in this temple walls. Next we see the copper plate. Can you see the copper plate? Yes, in the copper plate also we can see some of the writings. Let me see what is written in the copper plate. Copper plate grants, which were treated as legal documents, have significant source value. The Islamic Persian practices and the relatively high cost of copper plates made palm leaf and paper cheaper alternatives from 13th century onwards. Yes, in this palm leaf you can see some writings where all the secrets, any secrets things among the kings will be written in this palm leaf. For the black magic also they will be writing all these magic things in the palm leaf. Next we move on to the rock. Can you see the rock? In that rock also you can see beautifully it is written something in those days the language or written in the rock. Let me see what is written in the rock. In stone inscription, the beneficence of the donor is recorded. The major focus is upon the giver. Utramerur inscriptions in Kanchipuram district provide details of the way in which the village administration was conducted. These are the inscriptions written in temple wall, copper plate, palm leaf and rock. Next we'll move on to the monuments. Actually what is monuments? That is temples, palaces, mosques, tombs, forts, minors and minorities are called by the collective name monuments. Here we see the Hampi temple. Yes, what is monuments? I have explained you. Temples, mosques and so on. Now first we will see about the Hampi temple. Hampi temple is one of the famous temple for medieval Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar, and it is declared as World Heritage Site. Next we move on to the Dilwara temple, and first we saw about the Hampi temple, second we will see about the Dilwara temple. Can you see the picture there? Let me see what is Dilwara temple. Dilwara constitute valuable source to understand the religion-centered cultural evaluation in northern India. Next we will see the Charminar, that is mosque. First we saw the Hampi temple, Dilwara temple. Now we move on to the Charminar mosque. Can you see the mosque in the picture? Let us see what is there. Jamma Masjid, Fatehpur Sikri, Dargah and Charminar are the important mosques belonging to the medieval time. Here we can see the fort, red fort. Let me see some of the forts. The fort of the historical importance are Agra Fort, Chittoor Fort, Gwalior Fort and Delhi Red Fort, as well as the forts of Daulatabad and Firoz Shah Kotla at Delhi. Next we move on to the palace, Jaisalmer Palace. Can you see the beautiful palace there? Let us see what is there. Palaces in Jaipur, Jaisalmer and Jodhpur signify the greatness of the Rajput dynasty that wielded enormous power from these palaces. Here we can see the Qutub Minar tomb. Yes, Qutub Minar and Alai Darwaza, the tombs of Iltutmish, Balbal and all the Mughal rulers or the other prominent structures recognized as valuable sources of information. Okay, we saw about what all the monuments. Monuments means temples, palaces, mosques, tombs, forts, minor and minorities. And we saw some of the pictures of what all the pictures we saw. Hampi temple at Vijayanagar, Dilwara temple, and we saw the Charminar, then we saw Red Fort, and finally we saw the Qutub Minar tomb. Next, we move on to the coins. Let me see what are the coins. The picture and the legend of the coins convey the names of kings which with their title and portraits, events, places, dates, dynasties, and logos. The composition of metals in the coins gives us information on the economic condition of the empire. Mention the king's achievements like military conquest, territorial expansion, trade links, and religious faith can also be found in the coins. First, let me move on to the Lakshmi coin of Gauri. Okay, it is written there. Can you see the picture there? Lakshmi coin of Gauri. Okay. Muhammad Ghori had stamped the figure of goddess Lakshmi on his gold coins and had his name inscribed on it. Next, we'll see the coins of Galji. Yes, Alauddin Galji's gold coins, Muhammad bin Tughlaq's copper token currency are indicative of coinage as well as the economic prosperity or otherwise of the country of the time. Yes, in the coins I explained what is some of the coins, and we saw two types of coins, that is Lakshmi coin of Gauri, and next we saw the coins of Galji. So far we saw primary sources. Under primary sources we saw inscriptions, monuments, coins, and so many informations available in them. Now we are going to see the secondary sources. In secondary sources we are going to see the literary books, biographies, and autobiographies. Under literature we are going to see the religious literature. What is religious literature? The Chola period was known as the period of devotional literature, and works such as Kamba Ramayana, Sekula's Periya Puranam. Next, we will see about the secular literature. What is secular literature? Madhura Vijayam and Amukta Malyata were poems composed by Ganga Devi, Krishna Devaraya, respectively, that help us gain insight into the events and individuals associated with the Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, in the secondary sources we saw under literature, we saw religious and secular literature. Now we move on to the books, biographies, and autobiographies. Okay, books means what all the good things done by the kings and the captains and the other workers in those medieval periods are written in these books. Biographies means all the writings all recorded. Autobiographies is the sign, that is the discovery of the chloroform. That all this will be with the sign, will be in the stones. So let us see what are there in the books, biographies, and autobiographies, which provide information about the political, social, and economic conditions of the medieval times or detail. Next, we are going to see the travelers and the travel ages. Okay. What travelers means, in those days so many foreigners came to visit our India. And we are going, travel ages means the travelers who came and what all the illustration or lecture they gave about the visiting place. We are going to see. There are so many visitors, that is travelers who came from other countries. They are Marco Polo, then Al-Birini, Abu Batuta, Nicola Conti, Abdur Razzaq, then Domino Pues. Okay, among all this, I am going to tell some points about the Ibn Battuta. Okay, see what this Ibn Battuta did when he visited our country. Ibn Battuta, in 14th century, an Arab-born Morocco scholar, traveled from Morocco right across North Africa to Egypt and then to Central Asia and India. His travelogue contains rich details about the people and the countries he visited. According to him, Egypt was very rich. Yes, this Ibn Battuta gave the brief description about our country who came from other country and visited our place. Now, in nutshell, in summary, I am going to just summarize the lesson. Listen carefully. What all we learn, I am going to just summarize the lesson. What the date I told you, can you remember? Just I will give the recap of this lesson. The period from AD 700 to 1200 and from AD to 1200 to 1700 are classified as early medieval and later medieval period of Indian history. Then we move on to the sources are classified as primary and secondary sources. Next, the inscriptions on stones, rocks and temple walls and copper plates, brands with royal orders and events in the courts which have evidentiary value or dealt with. Next, we saw about the temples, palaces, mosques, tombs, forts, minarets and minorities, collectively known as monuments, belonging to the early medieval and Mughal periods are highlighted. Then we saw about the coins. Coins of Iltutmish, Alauddin Khalji and copper coins of the later Islamic rulers are discussed. Devotional literature belonging to the era of Bhakti movement is provided. Next, we saw about the books, biographies and autobiographies or that provide information about the political, social and economic conditions of the medieval times or very detailed. Next, last we saw about the travelers and travelers. Travelers accounts mostly by the visiting Arab and Persian scholars are given in the end. Yes, children, I hope and trust that you would have followed the teaching of this lesson. Just go through these topics with the picture I have explained you. Just go through and keep learning more and more. Just I wanted to give some of the hard words. Some of the hard words are given here. Okay, just I will pronounce this. Listen carefully how to pronounce and put syllable and learn so that it will be easy to memorize. First one, respectively. Next, fortunately. Information, monuments, medieval, dedications, Thiruvalangadu, Uttiramerur, biographies, autobiographies. Okay, children, I have clearly pronounced the words of these hard words. You just keep repeating and make writing each word 5 times and be thorough. Next class I will be giving test on this. And one more assignment I wanted to give you. I believe that last year in 6th standard you would have learned about the states and capitals and union territories. There are 29 states and capitals and 9 union territories. I just want you to keep ready this homework, the states and capital and union territories. When I ask for the assignment, you have to submit this and be ready for the test next class. Thank you, children.